Good morning, Grandmama.
Good morning, honey. Yesterday it was rainy. It's gonna be rainy today, and Roy and I were sitting in the living room, and I said, "Honey, how would you like a chocolate pudding?" And he said, "Oh, that sounds good." So I jumped up and I whipped us up together just a small chocolate pudding, just enough for me and him. So I thought today I would show y'all how I'm gonna make. I'm gonna turn that into a pie. Now it's gonna be sugarless, gluten-free uh, chocolate pie, and I am using almond flour. Almond flour. That's 1 cup of almond flour. I'm gonna make my crust first, and my crust is made out of almond flour and coconut flour, and that's 1/4 cup of coconut flour. So that was 1 cup of almond, 1/4 cup of coconut, and I'm gonna put just a dash of salt in it. Now this is stevia. I'm putting 1/4 cup of stevia because if you know anything about chocolate, chocolate, I'm using cocoa and it's bitter. So I'm putting more stevia in my crust than I usually would because of it being chocolate. So if I was doing vanilla or some other flavor, I would not put that much stevia in my crust. And also, I have made the almond flour crust before, and it's a little crumbly. So this is, I'm putting 2 tablespoons of gluten-free flour in it. And I have found that just the 2 tablespoons of gluten-free flour will make it stick together better. And I am going to put 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder just because I don't want it to be I want it to be just a little light and not fluffy, but I just want it to have just a little bit of rising edges in it since your almond or coconut flour does. So, all right, and I have got my oven set on 350 degrees. Did I say I was Rose from Grandma Rose's Open Pantry? Good morning, everyone. All right, now I have got 1 stick of melted butter here, which is a 1/2 cup. Coconut flour absorbs liquid more than almond flour does. And I put a 1/4 cup of coconut flour. So I'm not sure if I'm going to have to use this whole stick or not. We'll see, but I'll let you know how much I do use. So I'm just going to mix this around because you don't want it too wet, but you do want it wet enough that it'll stick together. Okay. I don't think I'm going to have to use all of that. But we'll see. I'm going to get my hands in it in just a second because I do have clean hands. All right. I think that's probably all I'm going to need just by looking at it. When I get my hands in it, I can feel of it and tell how it feels. When it sticks together like that, then you know you've got enough butter. So that was about, I've got 1/8 of a cup left. So that was probably three-quarters of a stick of butter. So you see how that sticks together? That's what you want. Now I have got a pie plate sprayed here with some spray. And I'm going to put my crust in my pie plate. And I'm just going to take, now when I'm making a pecan pie or when I'm making some other pie, a lot of times I'll put pecans, crushed up pecans in my crust. But I'm not doing that today. I'm just making just a regular almond flour or gluten-free crust with almond flour, coconut flour. Just a little bit of gluten-free flour, not much. Now you can leave the gluten-free flour out. I just find that for me, it adds more carbs, yes, but when you eat one piece of pie, those few carbs is not going to, it's not going to make a break unless you're keto. Now, if you're keto, no, you don't want to add the gluten-free flour. Just stick to your coconut flour and your almond flour. Okay, now I just take my hand. Now I want to press this down really, really well and get it in here real good, because I'm going to bake this in the oven for probably 10 minutes, maybe 12 minutes, until it gets golden brown. And I'm sure that my crust is cooked well, but I'll let y'all know how long it takes to cook it. Okay, you just keep working with it, work it up the sides of your pie dish, like so. If you have any little cracks or holes, fix them. And sometimes with this almond flour and coconut flour, because it's a grain, it's a nut, you just have to keep pressing until you press it, till you get it. There is a thin spot. All right. That's just how easy you can have. There's a little, okay. That's just how easy you can have a gluten-free crust made. And I'm going to put this in my oven, 350 degrees. And while it's cooking, I've got to let it cool. While it's cooking, then I'm going to get all my ingredients out for my chocolate pie. So we'll be right back. All right. Our pie crust likes 4 minutes. And I turned it on 2 more minutes, so that'll be 12 minutes that I cooked it, because it wasn't quite as brown as what I wanted it. This is just an old-fashioned, well, it's an old-fashioned chocolate recipe that I've been making for years and years. But when I try to take an original recipe, which is what I do, and make it low carb, lower carb, or low carb, sugar-free or less sugar, then I substitute things in and out. Like today, instead of whole milk, 1 cup of whole milk has 12 carbs in it. Well, today I am substituting coconut milk, which has no added sugar, and it has less than 1 gram of carb. I am substituting evaporated milk, which has 3 grams of sugar, but no added sugars. So that's what I'm substituting today. And I need 3 cups of the milk. So I may have to add a little water to it, but that's okay, because evaporated milk is more concentrated than your whole milk. So if I have to use a little water to bring it up to 3 cups, then that'll be fine. So I'm going to separate my eggs, because I am going to make a meringue today. I usually don't. I usually put Cool Whip on it, but I'm going to make a meringue today just because I like meringue. Oh, put that in the wrong place. So and I'm going to be using stevia. We're using 4 eggs today because I want my meringue. A lot of times I just put 3, but I want my meringue to be real fluffy. Uh-oh, I almost broke that yellow, and I don't want any yellow in my, it didn't break. It just almost broke. Because you don't want any yellow in with your egg whites, because if you do, then they will not fluff up. So always make sure and try not to break that yolk. And if you do it with cold eggs, these are cold eggs. If you do it with cold eggs, then they don't break as easily as warm eggs do. Okay? Get that egg off my hand. All right, I'm just going to set this aside, and my timer just went off. So I'm going to take my pie crust out, get another holder. Okay, this is what I wanted it to look like. See how brown it is? Now that's going to be so good. Now if you don't want yours quite that brown, don't cook it that long. Okay? So I'm just going to put it behind me on that little thing, and a piece fell off, but that's all right. I'll just put it right back on, and it's going to have pie on it anyway, so it'll be all right. Okay, I'm going to beat my eggs with a whisk. I got my electric mixer out, but I don't think I'm gonna need it today. All right, 4 eggs that I'm gonna beat. Now, this is 1 cup of stevia. Like I told y'all in the beginning, chocolate, this is cocoa. So sometimes your stevia, your monk fruit, now I'm only putting 3/4 cup right now. Your stevia, monk fruit, allulose, swerve, to me, they don't sweeten chocolate like sugar does. So I've got 1/4 cup of sugar here, and in the beginning I said sugar less. I'm going to see if the stevia will sweeten this cocoa. It didn't last night, so I had to put 2 tablespoons of sugar in it. But I'm going to try it again today, and if it's sweet enough, then I will not add the sugar. But if I don't think it is, then I will add the sugar to it. So, all right, now I'm going to see how much milk I've got. This is 12 ounces of evaporated milk and 13 ounces of coconut milk. Maybe more than 3 cups. Let's see. No, I think it's exactly 3 cups. Exactly. Oh, well, didn't that work out good? Okay, I'm going to put my milk in here. Now, this is 3 cups of milk. Now, all of this is at room temperature. I just got my milk out of the pantry. So I'll mix that up really well. Now, my eggs were not at room temperature, but that's all right, because my milk is. All right. Now, I've got 3 tablespoons of cocoa here. Roy likes his real, almost bitter chocolate. So that was 3 tablespoons. All right, and we're going to add some cornstarch to this. A lot of people use flour, but I like to use cornstarch. All right, now I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of baking powder, cornstarch. Now, if you're real low carb and you know something else that you can use as a thickener, I wish you would let me know. So, but this is lower carb than your normal pie would be. All right, now we're going to do this in the microwave. You can do it on top of the stove in a boiler if you like. You can do it in a double boiler, but I always do mine in the microwave. It's quick, it's easy. It takes like 6 minutes, and it won't scorch. I don't have to worry about standing over it, stirring it, because it will not scorch. Get all that cocoa and cornstarch stirred up good. All right. It's going in the microwave for 3 minutes. Now I've still got my oven on because I'm going to make a meringue in a few minutes to go on it. I didn't taste of it, but I will taste of it when it comes out. I wanted to cook those eggs a little bit for those out there, y'all, that don't like to see people eat raw eggs. So I'm going to need that. I'm going to let it cook a little bit, and then I'm going to taste of it, and if I need to add that sugar or some of that sugar, then I will. I will add as much as I need to make it as sweet as what I want it. All right, y'all. We tasted this. It was not quite chocolatey enough for Roy, so I'm putting another tablespoon of chocolate because we like really, really chocolate pie. So if you want yours like milk chocolate, then you just stick with the 3 tablespoons of cocoa, but this is 4 that I have put in here. And I put my other 4th cup of stevia in it. So, and my eggs have cooked for 3 minutes, so they are done. So I'm going to taste of it again. Woo! Now that's chocolate. But since I added that extra chocolate and I put the whole cup of stevia, it still is not quite sweet enough. So I'm going to start out with 1 tablespoon of sugar and add to it and see if that's not. I may have to add the whole 4th. It's not sugar. Now see, that 1 tablespoon almost did it, but I'm putting 2 tablespoons. Okay. Now this is sugar less, not no sugar. This is sugar light. Sugar light. A girl asked me where she could buy sugar light. That's the reason I say sugar less. Sugar light is just a term we use when we use less sugar. Is it over the top? I keep washing my spoon, y'all, because somebody made some of this pie besides us. That was 2 tablespoons. I'm cooking it 2 more minutes. 3 minutes the first time, 2 minutes now. And then as it starts to thicken, I will cook it at 1 minute intervals. I'm going to sweeten my egg whites, my meringue with stevia also. And I learned a trick the other day. I learned it from Tammy on Collard Valley Cooks. My aunt is so funny. My aunt Elsie always had the thickest, lightest meringue anywhere around, but she wouldn't give us her secret. She just said she beat a lot of air in it. Well, Tammy on Collard Valley Cooks the other day, she adds a little, I got the wrong thing. I got baking powder. She adds a little cornstarch to hers. Yes. As I was about to say that, I thought, I'm getting the wrong thing out. So I shouldn't have put my cornstarch up. And so I'm going to add a little cornstarch to mine this morning. Now, like I say, it's still going to be lower carb, but I'm going to add only a teaspoon of cornstarch. All right. This is after 5 minutes. It's beginning to thicken. So I'm going to cook it 1 minute now. And every minute, I'll take it out, I'll stir it, and when it gets as thick as I want it, then we'll pour it out crust and I'll make my... Okay. When I took it out of the microwave, I cooked it 7 minutes. When I took it out of the microwave, we tasted of it. It still wasn't quite sweet enough because remember, I put that extra cocoa in it. So I ended up using the whole 4th cup of sugar and 1 cup of stevia. Okay, now I'm going to pour this in my pie dish. And I've still got my oven set on 350 degrees. for my meringue. Okay. Whew, that looks delicious. Matter of fact, I know it's delicious because we've already tasted. All right, I'm just going to slide this over here like that. Now in this dish, I've got my 4 egg whites and I put a dash of salt. To that, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of, well, it won't go in. Do it like this. Cream of tartar. Wasn't quite a teaspoon. Okay. And I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of cornstarch. Now leave this cornstarch out if you don't want to put it in yours. That's perfectly fine. All it does is make it just a little bit fluffier. And Tammy said it absorbs any of the liquid and it keeps it from seeping. But I love it. When my mama used to make pies and those little sugar beads would pop out, I just loved it. So I got my mixer right here. This mixer is kind of loud, so I'm going to beat this till it forms stiff peaks, and I'm not going to leave y'all on here because it messes up my mic. The noise messes up my mic. So as soon as I get this beat to stiff peaks, we'll be back. Soft peaks right now. Can you see in there, honey?
You'll have to repeat that. Soft peaks.
Soft peaks. It's at soft peaks right now. So I'm going to add a little vanilla. About a teaspoon of vanilla. And this is a 4th cup of stevia. So I'm adding a 4th cup of stevia. Now, when I do egg whites, when I did them with sugar, I would do 1 tablespoon per egg white. That's what my mama always told me, 1 tablespoon of sugar per egg white. But I did a 4th cup of stevia and I'm doing 4 egg whites. Now, before I finish this, Roy had a good idea. He said, honey, show them how much a cup of sugar would have been if they had put the sugar in this pie. So a lot of you might think that I've still got a lot of carbs in this pie, but it is lower carb and it is less sugar. But you would have all this sugar in the pie if you had made it regular, and that's a whole cup of sugar right there. Because it takes a cup of sugar for this pie. And so I've got 1/4 cup of sugar in this pie and 1 cup of stevia. So
that's a quarter of the volume of the pie would have been made up
right.
by sugar.
Right.
Just pure sugar. So
for those of y'all out there who was thinking, she's still got a lot in it. Well, it's a 1/4 of the sugar that you would have put in it if you had used all sugar. So, all right, I'm going to finish getting this meringue ready and then we'll be back. Okay. We're about to finish this up and get it in the oven. Beat your egg whites until they're stiff and form stiff peaks. I should have done this in my stand mixer. My little mixer is a rechargeable, and it's not very strong. It's a Cuisinart, so I thought that it would really be good, but it's not. It's not as good as my electric mixer was, so I may have to go back to my electric mixer when I do things with a hand mixer. All right, you want to seal your edges good. Like that. Oh, it's plenty fluffy, but
it's standing up pretty high,
yeah,
Rose. And
it
you
is.
Use but what was it?
4 eggs.
Instead of 5.
Yeah. All right, and you can just swirl it around. Do it. This is the way I always did mine, because I love to see the peaks in it. Mom always did hers like this, and I loved it. Okay.
Those mamas always get a lot of blame, don't they?
A lot of praise. All right. This is our lower carb, sugar less, gluten-free chocolate pie. So I'm fixing to put it in my 350-degree oven for probably 10 minutes, maybe 15, until it gets brown. And then we will come back. I'm not going to be able to taste of it right now because it's going to be really hot. I'm going to have to let it set up for a couple of hours, because if I tried to cut it when it's really hot, it wouldn't be set up. All right, y'all. I put my pie in the freezer so it would cool quicker. And you know, when you cook, you learn things. When you try new things, you learn. Well, this morning I learned that if you are using stevia in your meringue, don't use the cornstarch, because it gives it a flavor. It almost gives it a little salty flavor. It's good, but if you're going to use all stevia in your meringue, do not use the cornstarch. So that's just something I learned. So I'm not going to put it in the recipe. Now, if you use sugar in your meringue, you can use it, because I don't think it'll do that. But I won't put it in the recipe. So we're going to cut this. It cuts good. Okay. Now, remember, your almond and coconut flour is a little bit crumblier than your normal crust would be. So it may break a little bit, but that's all right. Y'all look at there. Look at that. Perfect.
Wow, Grandmama.
Perfect.
That's beautiful. Beautiful,
Perfect
Grandmama.
pie. You want a taste of it first, honey?
Woo!
Look at this.
Isn't that pretty?
Beautiful.
That's pretty, Rose.
All
I'm going to let you taste it.
You going to let me taste it?
Mm-hmm. It looks beautiful.
That is delicious, y'all.
You can't tell you don't have all that sugar in it. Can you?
Well, you can tell it's not. You can tell it's not sweet with sugar. But we're so used to this. Joel, I'm telling you, 75% less sugar, lower carb, delicious. The evaporated milk and the coconut milk work beautifully in it. So that's just a way you can cut carbs instead of using milk. Coconut milk, which has less than 1 carb per serving, and evaporated milk.
But you can taste that saltiness in the meringue you're talking about. Yes. So you don't want that in there.
Do not put cornstarch if you're using all stevia like I did in the meringue.
You'd have to cover it up with sugar. That salty taste, yeah.
That cornstarch. All right. Now, make you a sugar-less, gluten-free, carb-less chocolate pie. Man.
That's good.
It is so good.
That is good. And she saved a whole cup
of sugar.
Yeah. Out of this recipe.
I did.
Plus some flour and other stuff.
Food feeds the family. Family feeds the heart. God feeds the soul. Make you one of these chocolate pies. See y'all next time.
Have a wonderful day.